my friends are simps.
The other day I realised something momentous. Specifically, that I somehow had blasted past 500 uploads without even noticing. What was the milestone video, I hear you ask? Perhaps a deep dive into my new album? A declaration of war against artificial streaming fees? A masterpiece that got thousands and thousands of views? Well, no. Instead, it was a rather dull review of a set of IEMs that pretty much nobody watched, which feels, to be honest, rather frustratingly on brand. Now the thing is that when you're constantly making and uploading things, you don't necessarily keep track of, details like this, or at least I don't anyway. I'm sure plenty of people do. But I started poking about once I saw this into the darker corners of my channel that I would never usually look at. And that's when I discovered something horrifying. The playlist section. For in here, I had a playlist for literally fucking everything. Dollest jams, glitch inspiration, random bits of gear that I only ever did one video on, Mario Paint. It just made no sense whatsoever. The whole thing kind of looked like the digital equivalent of my home studio, which thankfully you can't see the entirety of. But it's chaotic, disorganized, and with 1,000 different unfinished projects strewn wildly about. Even I couldn't find my own videos, and I guess, YouTube's algorithm must have been looking at my uploads and thinking, mate, I've got no idea what you want me to do with all of this. Enough is enough, so I did something drastic. I deleted it all. Well, not quite all of it. I'm not completely deranged despite what you might reasonably surmise. The videos all remained, obviously, but the playlists are totally gone, or were totally gone. They wiped out entirely. Time to start afresh. Instead of random piles of nonsense for every half-baked idea I've ever had, I've created specific lanes. 14 of them, which to be honest, still sounds ridiculous, but trust me, I needed all of them, and I'll tell you why. These aren't just playlists, they're kind of like different compartments in my mind. Sort of like, a filing cabinet for the madness. I've been making videos for about 10 years on and off, with about 2 million views, don't you know? But it was just all kind of dumped together in this jumbled mess of pish. This wasn't just chaotic, right? It was kind of paralysing because there wasn't a clear sense of purpose, in the sense that at times I often kind of found myself wondering whether I should even be uploading music anymore, as I wasn't sure how it fitted in, and these videos don't quite get as many views as others do. But once I kind of laid out those proper categories which captured the different streams that I had been doing already and which were already going in my mind, it all kind of started to click. Now, video art has got a specific place. Headphone reviews have got a specific place. Somewhere nobody goes. Music gear has got a specific place. Even rants about Spotify have got their specific place. For the first time, all of the chaos has got a narrative. It finally makes sense. Well, kind of. Going through to categorise years worth of old videos took hours and hours, and it should have been mind-numbingly boring, but interestingly enough, it wasn't. It was kind of like finding old photographs or old notebooks or something like that. Rediscovering older versions of myself where I might be slightly embarrassed, or not really embarrassed, but I wouldn't do that now. However, they're up there, so whatever. Some videos were predictably shite. Many, though, showed forgotten different rabbit holes that I'd clearly fallen down and then moved on from. But all of them demonstrated these kind of different strands of personality, and my interests are connected, even if they didn't necessarily seem that way, It reminded me that it's completely fine to be somebody that makes obscure music, loves weirdo lenses, talks about copyright law, circuit bends video gear, shoots on film, buys ridiculous fucking flight cases, and then has to build a custom solution. Sometimes it's just about figuring out how to pull those threads together so that people, including me, can actually follow them. So from now on, every video will have a home, a lane, a category, a bucket, an overarching theme or container where it belongs. This isn't going to change really what I'm doing, but it'll hopefully mean that you can easily find the kind of thing that you care about or are most interested in. So if you love arty Super 8 home movies, we don't give a fuck about synthesizers, you won't need to watch me bang on about Roland's latest drum machine, which I wouldn't anyway, since They haven't sent me one and never will, but you get the point of the illustration. Most importantly though, it helped me to realise that it's fine for me just to make more of the stuff that I'm interested in, because the threads are interlinked. People are complicated and multifaceted. I don't need a fucking niche. I make music, I make visuals, I break things fairly fucking regularly. And that all goes in cycles. Sometimes I talk, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm knackered from staying up all night to fix a synthesizer or a video synthesizer because I accidentally flashed the wrong firmware file. All of that is fine. And now that there is some order, or at least a conceptual understanding overlaid onto the chaos that justifies my actions, I'm free to enjoy and make more of that stuff. Going through such a simple exercise in organisation has been kind of a liberating experience. But to be honest, I could also just be fucking nuts. You decide.